Hi, Cheryl here. I'm working on a new painting, and this one is a watercolor of my two kittens that were looking out at a rainstorm. It was a very cute moment for me to see these two boys. They were siblings from the same litter, and I came out and we were having a really bad rainstorm, and it was their first experience witnessing rain, and it was so cute and precious. I decided I wanted to paint this memory. So, um, yeah, it's Jack and Whiskey, and I'll talk about them a little bit. What I'm doing is creating some rain in the background, and I did some washes in the beginning using a gray, and then I took some water and lifted some of the paint in the direction that the rain would be falling. And then I added some more of the same background color with the liner brush using fine strokes. And just kept working the background until I liked the effect I got for the rain. So I'm working on the doorway. It was a sliding glass door, and that will be the opening of the doorway that I'm working on now. And really just using, the color with a little bit of water, and you can get lighter shades by using more water and darker shades by using less water with watercolors. I'm coming in with a reddish color, reddish yellow, kind of a sienna color to create the wood for the doorway opening. And, basic washing them in. I'm using my ruler to make sure that my lines are nice and straight to get the effect that I need for the doorway. So what I'm doing at the moment is washing in some water, and I'm going to go in with some Payne's gray color and wash it in first. And then I come in with some clear water and I just use some droplets, and it makes a cool effect with the watercolors. Kind of spreads out. And I continue to do that with the other sections of the floor in the foreground. First wetting, then applying color, then applying some droplets of water. And I also come in with a little bit of blue color on top and let that blend in the water as well. Just to get a nice texture on the foreground floor. The tile in my kitchen is a gray color. When my older cat, Tiger, passed away, I swore I would never get any more animals because they break your heart. They don't live as long as we do. And it just breaks your heart because they are a part of your family and they're like children to us. And so Tiger passed away, and I said, no, I'm never going to have any more kittens, no more kittens. And my daughter came home one day and she says, oh, Mom, my friend's cat had some kittens. Do you want to go see? And I'm like, no, I don't want to see them. So she worked on me for a while, and finally I said, okay, I'll go see them. Well, you know how that goes. All you have to do is see like Jack's big blue baby eyes looking up at you. He was just adorable, and he just stole my heart right from the get-go. And I said, okay, well, we'll take Jack. And then we went home. Danielle fell in love with this other one, and he's Whiskey. And she says, she says, they really need a friend. You're at work all day long, and they have no one to play with. You really should get two. So anyway, we decided on getting Whiskey too. So Whiskey is the tan one, and Jack is the black and white. So what I'm doing here is I'm basing in some color into Whiskey's fur. And it's just to get the shape and the form of the body and his colorings, his markings. And I'm washing it in very lightly. Just to get some form. Anyway, the two boys, they brought me such joy in my life. They were so much fun to watch, play with each other when, as kittens and growing up with each other, and they would clean each other, and it was just very cute and awesome to watch. And this particular day was fun. It was fun to see them looking at the rain for the first time in their lives, and wondering what it is, and being curious, and really looking at at what was going on outside. It was very cute. It was a special day for them. So I'm going in with a little bit of white gouache just to bring in some white areas into the orange fur areas, and I'll be working back and forth with the watercolor and the gouache as we go. Just making sure my markings are correct and before I move forward on something else. So I'm putting in a little bit of darkening between the two boys to make them stand out with a little bit of gray, because my sliding screen door was white. It had a white has a white border. So I'm going in and darkening up my shades. My hues are getting a little darker, my values. Again, always working in layers. And I'm sorry, the footage it's trying to adjust its focus with the paintbrush. I don't know why, but it just did that. So I eliminated most of the blurriness that was in the video, and there's still a little bit of back and forth between the lens on the camera. Kept wanting to focus in on my brush instead of the painting. So Whiskey and Jack were my boys, and Whiskey's still with us, and unfortunately Jack passed away. Um, he was only 5 years old when he died. He developed a heart problem, and unfortunately we lost him rather quickly and suddenly. He was a big boy. He was a big-boned baby. We called him Baby Huey. Bad to the bone Jack, because he's always getting into mischief. But he absolutely loved to play, and he was a big mush. And he was my black and white baby. Whiskey is with us, and he's sleeping next to me as I'm recording this. And he's my boy. Follows me everywhere. And we have 3 other cats in the house now. Not by choice, but just happened that way. And you'll probably get to meet them or get to know them if you subscribe to my channel. If you haven't, you should check the button and click the subscribe button. Also hit the like button for me if you like this video. So I'm doing the same thing with the black. It's really a Payne's gray. It's a darker gray. Building up layers, just adding form and shape loosely with the washes. Washing it in, and sometimes I pick up some color out of it. And don't forget, your watercolors will always dry a lighter color than they were wet. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving will be next week for us this year. And I don't know when you're watching this video. Could be much later on. But it's in the time of COVID, so, trying to figure out what we're doing. In New York, we can't have more than 10 in the house, according to the mandate. And so I did my shopping and bought a smaller turkey this year. So I'm going back in with some gouache. I do believe I have gouache on the brush now. And I am just smoothing out some of the lines, making sure my areas and the white areas are nice and bright. Now we're doing another layer, getting a little darker. My brush strokes are always in the direction of the fur. Getting a little bit of shading going on. Between the cats and the door jamb. Still working on building up that color. Yeah, Jack had these big blue eyes, and then when he got older, he had the most unusual color eyes I've ever seen in a cat. They were like a celery green. They were so beautiful. He just was a good boy. He's a beautiful boy. Whiskey is my do not touch cat. He is the cat that won't let you touch him unless he wants to be touched. So he's still a mush. He's my boy. He comes around when he wants to be touched and loved. And he does not like to be picked up either. He's just always been that way since little. So we're working in the highlights and the gliding track for the door. Now I'm doing some line work in the fur. Working with some white gouache. Adding some little fine lines. Very light touch. Very light touch. Putting in some white fur marks into Whiskey's coat. Oh, by the way, I'll put the list of products that I used on this project down below if you're interested to know what I'm using. A little bit of separation there. I wanted to darken that between the two cats. The bottom of the screen door. And then I'm doing some shade work along the side of Jack, going up the screen door and blending it out. And a little bit of shading between the ears just to separate them. And blending. So using some more of the dark gray, I'm going to put some shading in at the bottom of the doorway and along the right side of each of the cats to give a little bit of shading on the floor, and it also helps bring the animals out of the background, giving it a little more depth is what I'm doing. So I'm giving Jack's coat another layer of fur using the dark gray watercolor and very little water. You can do some nice fine work with a liner brush, and I'm using a 20-0 brush. Just laying in some fur strokes in the direction of the fur. And unfortunately, my camera stopped recording when I was working on Whiskey's coat doing this process, but it was the same exact process, just using the rust color hair strokes, the white gouache hair strokes, and washes. You'll see I'll do some washes over top of this to smooth it out, bring it all together. And I put a few hair strokes in the white fur. And I had a boo-boo there, and I fixed it by lifting it with water. Putting in some highlights on the door tracks. Some more gouache line work. And you'll see I go back and forth till I get the look that I'm working for. And I'm using a little bit darker browns to put some shading into the door jamb I'm just putting in a little bit of wood grain by using a darker color and then washing it out till I get the effect that I like. Building up my shadows. So now I'm doing the wash over top of the first strokes. If you do this lightly with the brush, not using very much pressure, it will go over top of your brush strokes and you won't lose your texture that you put in. And this helps get the depth in the fur. But being that the kittens were further away, I didn't need to detail too much in this painting because they are further away and you wouldn't see that. Deepening the shadows on the floor and blending out with water. Putting it in and blending it out. The screen door was pretty high for those little kittens looking over top. It's, I believe just at their shoulder was the top of the door, the molding for the screen. Working with the gouache again. I start to work on whiskey. Oh, I'm putting in the fur, and not the fur, but the whiskers here. And I do go back and I work on the fur coats again, so there'll be more to this video. So I'm going back over the red, the whiskey, the little tan kitten with some more color, make his coat a little bit more vibrant. And I'm just washing over with some an orangey red color. I have no idea what it's called. Putting in a little bit of shading. Not much, very light. With a little bit of gray. More detail line work with the brush on the red coat. Blending. Going to go back over with a little bit of gouache, brightening up the high points. And some more blending. Adding some detail white first strokes to the white areas for some texture. I'm blending in the orange areas with the white, a little bit of white gouache. So this painting is now available for sale on my website, which is artbycherylann.com. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button to see when my videos will come out. You'll get notified. And continuing to blend in the white areas into the black areas on Jack. And final touches on their coats with some first strokes. And Jack and Whiskey will be forever immortalized in this painting. I hope you liked this video. If you want to see more videos, I do have other watercolor paintings that have been filmed. Check out my other videos. I'll put a link at the end for you to link to a watercolored butterfly. And the painting is finished. Thanks for watching.